Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa man sara ala sabilihi ila yawmiddin amma ba'd. So today, inshaAllah, we are open to discuss one of the book of Hadith, and the book that we have chosen to discuss is the book that is called Bulugh Al-Maram, and this book is written by Hafiz ibn Ḥajar al-ʿAsqalānī rahimahullah. So before we actually go into studying of this book of Bulugh Al-Maram, as it's a book that is intended to be used as a book to be memorized and also to be taught and to be studied regarding clarifying concerning matters regarding the ahkam of Islam, regarding halal and haram. But before we enter into the discussion regarding discussing the book Bulugh Al-Maram, that we'll have these introductions that we'll mention so as to give some clarity regarding the book, the author, and also the subject and the topic that we're discussing. So we'll go into mentioning certain things that a person who wishes to study a book like Bulugh Al-Maram and book of this type, that they are familiar regarding certain things that have been put forward by the ulama and the mashaykh regarding the study of this particular science. So the book Bulugh Al-Maram, and it is well known to most, that written by Hafiz ibn Ḥajar al-ʿAsqalānī rahimahullah, but this book is a series of books that is written on the topic of Hadith al-Ahkam. So you find some of the ulama that they have written specific book regarding matters relating to Hadith al-Ahkam, meaning matters that relates to hadith that relates to halal and haram. So Ibn Ḥajar rahimahullah is one of those ulama who participating in writing a book on this topic. So for us, inshaAllah, today, that will start by giving some clarity, some points regarding this topic, this subject regarding Hadith al-Ahkam, books that have been written on this topic and the likes. So in starting this topic, that you find that some of the mashaykh and also some of the researchers of contemporary times have written somewhat regarding some points relating to this topic, and some have referred to as a madkhal ila dirasat Hadith al-Ahkam. So some have referred to it as a dirasa, as a form of a study and a research paper that they have put forward regarding how to go about studying concerning Hadith al-Ahkam and points that relates to Hadith al-Ahkam. So of those things that they will normally start out first in discussing regarding Hadith al-Ahkam is defining, clarifying what is intended or what is meant by Hadith al-Ahkam and the books that relate to this topic. So of those things regarding Hadith al-Ahkam, which will be the first of these that we'll discuss in this introduction, we'll also discuss concerning Ibn Ḥajar. We'll discuss concerning the book Bulugh Al-Maram, relating to Bulugh Al-Maram by way of the taba'at, different prints of this book Bulugh Al-Maram, and the tahqiq of this book Bulugh Al-Maram, or some of those. Also, we discuss regarding Bulugh Al-Maram, books that relates to some of the shuruhat, those who have explained this book. Also, we discuss concerning those who have made mukhtasarat, those who have made a summary of the book Bulugh Al-Maram, and also books of takhrij related to Bulugh Al-Maram. So we try to cover all these areas. But as we said, that in starting first is to give us some idea regarding the topic of Hadith al-Ahkam and books that relate to this subject. So regarding concerning what had been mentioned first regarding that what is intended or meant by Hadith al-Ahkam. So you have various definitions that have been put forward regarding what they deem to be a suitable definition of Kutub Hadith al-Ahkam or Hadith al-Ahkam. So of those who mentioned that if you were to look at these words, it is mudaf ilayh. So they mentioned concerning that a definition that is murakkab, one that consists of both those two words separately. So of those who have written that, they have explained concerning what is meant by a hadith and also what is meant by ahkam, and then they give a definition based upon then a combined definition based upon explaining those two words. So a hadith in general is the word that is used as a plural for hadith. So the general concerning, so what is generally intended by a hadith, that is the plural for the word hadith. So a hadith, as we know, concern those matters that go back to the Prophet ﷺ, min aqwalihi, from his statement, min af'alihi, from his action, wa taqriratihi, and also things regarding things that he approved of. So that's concerning a hadith from that perspective. Or some mention a hadith, so that's concerning hadith. So also I've mentioned regarding al-ahkam, regarding concerning ahkam al-halal al-haram. So in summary, regarding ahkam in this context regarding matters pertaining to halal and haram. So, but overall, they mentioned concerning that a simple definition of Hadith al-Ahkam is regarding concerning what is mentioned regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. What is intended and meant by this is regarding concerning here Hadith al-Nabawiyya, prophetic Hadith, التي تتضمن حكما شرعيا. So concerning what is meant by Hadith al-Ahkam are those is a hadith, prophetic hadith that includes Islamic rulings. That includes Islamic rulings. So those are Hadith al-Ahkam. So Hadith al-Ahkam, that they revolve around concerning matters relating to that gives ruling, or ruling can be taken from them regarding halal and haram. So that will include concerning things of ibadat, and also include concerning things of mu'amalat, as to be discussed. So that's concerning what is intended and meant by Hadith al-Ahkam. That are Hadith al-Nabawiyya yatadamman hukman shar'iyyan. That is Hadith al-Ahkam. So that's concerning the definition. So when we speak of Hadith al-Ahkam, we're speaking of a hadith that primarily relates to things that is halal and things that are haram regarding Islam. And that is Hadith al-Ahkam. So you find that some of the ulama, that they have given some emphasis in trying to gather a hadith that specifically revolves around a hadith of halal and haram, of ahkam, and to not to mention a hadith that relates to other topics. So of those ulama, so you find many of the ulama have given attention to this particular topic, and you find that of those contemporary who have written on this topic concerning Sheikh Dr. Muhammad Bazmul, Hafidallah, Tabarak Ta'ala, wa Ghafrallahu lahu, that I've mentioned regarding concerning this topic. So of those things that he mentioned regarding concerning that the ulama that I've given concerning inayah, that the ulama have given concerning emphasis in gathering or authoring a book relating to Hadith al-Ahkam. Why is this? Of those things that have been put forward is regarding concerning that one, for the person, the Muslim, to understand, and the person who's the Talib al-Ilm to understand, that regarding concerning that the Sunnah, that is considered to be one of the primary sources of Islam. So regarding concerning al-Masr al-Tashri', that Sunnah al-Nabawiyya is considered to be one of the primary sources of Islamic rules. So it is emphasized by way of seeing those ahadith that discuss these matters. And what one will find is that concerning Hadith al-Ahkam, regarding concerning the Sunnah, that is somewhat very more detailed than the text, than what we can find in the Quran. So the Sunnah relating to matters regarding halal and haram, regarding concerning clarifying these matters, that we find that the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that is somewhat more detailed compared to what we might find in the Quran. So emphasis is placed on the Hadith, just as emphasis is placed on the Quran, but in this regard concerning that the Sunnah, that is much more detailed regarding matters pertaining to halal and haram. So the ulama have given it some detail. And also you'll find regarding that with the ulama, regarding concerning a person who is considered to be qualified to give fatwa, a person also regarding qualified regarding teaching, then the person should have some understanding regarding halal and haram. And that also the person knowing concerning those hadith that covers these matters. So it shows regarding concerning that the usul concerning fatwa, and also regarding fiqh, that a great emphasis is placed regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. So the person who is in this area, that they should be aware of those ahadith that will give some clarity on those matters. And also regarding concerning, so Hadith al-Ahkam plays an important matter, and also in the day-to-day life of the Muslim, regarding concerning how the Muslim pray in detail, how the person fast in detail, how the person perform Hajj in detail. Then we'll find that that description will be found in the Sunnah. As for the Quran may discuss these matters, but not to that detail as we'll find in the Sunnah. As the Prophet ﷺ is responsibility was to clarify a matter in detail. So that's of the reason behind the ulama giving emphasis regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. Also with this you'll find concern that another thing the person should understand in studying concerning Hadith al-Ahkam, that you find the likes of Khatib al-Baghdadi and all of the ulama are somewhat gathers concerning some of the statements of the ulama regarding the approach that they have regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. By way of meaning here in this context regarding a hadith that relates to Ahkam al-Shar'iyyah, then also of those things that should be emphasized is the person being able to can distinguish between those hadith that are said to be maqbool, those hadith that are said to be acceptable, and those hadith that are said to be mardud, those hadith that are said to be mardud, that are rejected. So the person in Hadith al-Ahkam, the person should be able, or the person able can source books that can clarify for them those clarify regarding those hadith that are said to be or graded to be sahih or hasan, that are acceptable and can be used as a source of Islam and to establish ruling in Islam. And also the person able can distinguish those hadith that are said to be da'if and and the likes, where those hadith that they are not used as a source of Islam. Because regarding halal and haram, then the emphasis on the ulama of past and present is being able to identify those ahadith that are said to be maqbool, sahih, or hasan, and those are the ones that are used. And also the person is to dismiss and not to rely upon hadith that are da'if regarding these matters. So of the aqwal of the salaf from the ulama of hadith that I've clarified concerning the emphasis regarding being able to distinguish sahih hadith from those hadith that are da'if regarding halal and haram in pertaining to ahkam. So of those statements that have been gathered that we find concerning that Abdul Rahman ibn Mahdi rahimahullah tabaraka ta'ala, he said, إذا روينا في ثواب والعقاب والفضائل الأعمال تسهلنا في الأسانيد والرجال. He mentioned that when we narrate regarding matters concerning thawab, matters regarding iqab, punishment, matter regarding fadail al-amal, things regarding virtuous actions, tasahalna, that we're somewhat more complacent, fi isnad wa rijal, regarding the isnad and also the narrators. Then it states, فَإِذَا رَوِينَا في حلال والحرام والأحكام تشددنا في الرجال. But when we narrate regarding matters regarding halal and haram, that we are more meticulous regarding this matter. We are more meticulous regarding those matters. So we are more strict regarding matters relating to the rijal, showing that in matters concerning halal and haram, there's more strictness in emphasizing that those hadith that they are authentic. Also we find concerning Sufyan al-Thawri rahimahullah that he has stated, لا تأخذوا هذا علم, you do not take this ilm في الحلال والحرام, in matters regarding halal and haram, إلا من رؤساء المشروهين بالعلم, you do not take this ilm regarding halal and haram except from the ru'asa, except from the people who are the leaders and well known regarding ilm. So we only take ilm regarding halal and haram from people who are the ru'asa, the people who are the cream of the crop regarding the people of ilm, and that they are well known. Then they mention الذين يعرفون زيادة والنقصان, of those who are able to distinguish concerning ziyada wa nuqsan regarding matters pertaining to the hadith that are concerned the hadith regarding hadith that are additional information, also hadith that are missing. Then they mention فلا بس بما سوى ذلك. But other than this, then it is more relaxed. Other than this, that ulama, that they are more relaxed min al-mashayikh, concerning taken from people who are not to that level of being of those who are the ru'asa, those who are the ones who are of the highest level, and mashru'in and mashruhin, and those who are well famous. So regarding concerning matters pertaining to halal and haram, then only take from the more senior of the ulama, the more renowned and well known of the ulama. As for matter pertaining to other than this, then one can take from some of the mashayikh who are not as well known. Then he mentioned Ahmad, then he mentioned also Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah. Then he states, إذا روينا أن رسول عليه السلام في حلال وحرام والسنن والأحكام تشددنا في الأسانيد. That Ahmad ibn Hanbal rahimahullah also state that when we narrate upon the Messenger of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alayhi wasallam في حلال وحرام, regarding halal and haram والسنن والأحكام, then he mentioned تشددنا في الأسانيد. Then we are much more stern regarding those isnad. We give more emphasis regarding those isnad. Then he mentioned, وإذا روينا أن النبي عليه السلام في فضائل الأعمال وما لا يضع حكما, then he mentioned ولا يرفعه تسهلنا في أسانيد. And when it comes to matter regarding other than this, regarding فضائل الأعمال, then and there's no hukum that is taken from this, then we are more relaxed. So that's concerned with some of the statements of the ulama of the past, of the ulama of hadith, kibar ulama of hadith, regarding on matters of halal and haram. They want us to give full attention in distinguishing those ahadith that are authentic from those that are not. So kutub al-ahkam, then one also have to have this approach. One has to have this approach, as this ahadith is regarding establishing some form of hukum of saying something is wajib, or something is mustahab, or something is haram, or the likes. So the person have to emphasize and clarify that the hukum upon the hadith that is being used. Also you find An-Nawawi rahimahullah, Hafidh An-Nawawi rahimahullah, that he mentioned regarding and he died. So Annahu rahimullah, who is well known amongst the ulama, that Annahu rahimullah, he state, ينبغي لكل أحد, that it is befitting for everyone أن يتخلق بأخلاق رسول عليه السلام ويقتدى بأقواله وأفعاله وتقريره في الأحكام. They mentioned that Annahu rahimullah, it is mentioned that it is befitting concerning that for everyone regarding that they should adopt the Prophet alayhi salam, regarding adopt the akhlaq, the manners of the Prophet alayhi salam, and also to follow his example regarding take to his example regarding his statements, his behavior, the thing that he has proof of regarding al-Ahkam wal-Adab wa sahir ma'alim al-Islam, and also regarding things of adab, and also regarding the main symbols of Islam. They mention وأن يعتمد, and the shahid here, أن يعتمد في ذلك ما صح ويجتنب ما ضعف. So they mention the shahid. So regarding these matters, that one should that one should rely upon authentic hadith, what is authenticated, and to leave away that which is weak. So the shahid regarding أن يعتمد في ذلك ما صح ويجتنب ما ضعف. So one should emphasize those things which is authentic and leave away those things which is weak. So again, that so that's concerning of those matters regarding that one to pay emphasis regarding in matters concerning Ahkam al-Islam, matters concerning aqaid. Then these matters the person should rely upon a hadith which is authentic. Then so of those things to take into account, not everything that is attributed to the Prophet ﷺ then is authentic. So not everything that is attributed to the Prophet ﷺ, it is said to be authentic. So the ulama of hadith, that they have set certain conditions, or put certain conditions and set up certain criteria in place, that if a hadith, any hadith, that they fulfill these conditions, then they are said to be authentic. And if any hadith that does not comply with these conditions, then they are said to be da'if, and they are dismissed. So there's conditions that are in place, and the ulama, those books are outlined in the books concerning ilm, usul al-hadith, or ilm that is referred to as ilm al-mustalah. So those conditions is regarding as-sihha, al-ittisal al-sanad, that is that isnad, that it is continuous, dabt al-rijal, that the narrators, that they are of preciseness in their memory or what they narrate, Adillat al-Rawat, that also narrated that they are said to be people that they are outstanding Muslim. Then it mentioned Adam al-Shudud, that the hadith also have no contradiction, wa Adam al-Illa, and also there's no hidden defects in the hadith. So these are the 5 conditions that ulama of hadith have set in place regarding each hadith must fulfill these criteria, as we had just outlined. So regarding concerning the books of Mustalah, that it will go into details in clarifying concerning these conditions and the rules that needs to be applied regarding study of hadith and passing a judgment on a hadith. Then also the next matter that we discuss, that as we have just emphasized or clarified, that ulama, that they have somewhat clarified and put certain condition, which is that matters pertaining to halal and haram, matter that relates to ahkam of Islam, then those ahadith, that they should be authentic. But at times we'll find that in books of hadith, of ahadith al-ahkam, that we find ahadith that are da'if. Why is this? So that seems to be a contradiction. So it's to try to explain or to look to see why would in the books of ahadith al-ahkam that ahadith that are said to be weak, that they are mentioned. Why is this case? Sheikh Muhammad Bazmul, wafaqahullah, that he have mentioned some of those reasons, and others who have mentioned concerning reason why at times one will find ahadith that are said to be da'if, that they are mentioned, included in the books of Kutub al-Ahkam, Hadith al-Ahkam. Of those reasons they mentioned, of those reasons that why this may occur, and at times may find that hadith, one, at times you'll find a hadith is mentioned in the books of Hadith al-Ahkam, but the author of that book, he would clarify this. So he will let you know this hadith is that by stating a hadith da'if. So he himself will clarify this by outlining that stating the judgment on the hadith or passing a judgment on the hadith. So the person is aware that the hadith is da'if. So we'll find cases that, yes, at times they will do so. They will clarify the hukum upon the hadith. And at times they may not mention any hukum. At times they may not mention the judgment and the ruling on the hadith. They kind of somewhat went sukut. They went silent on the hukum on the hadith. So the reason why this may occur regarding not clarifying the judgment on the hadith or mentioning a hadith da'if in books of Hadith al-Ahkam, of those reasons that one, that some of the ulama may mention a hadith da'if or what is said to be a hadith da'if based upon that a hadith that him, the author, in his judgment, in his ijtihad, that hadith it is maqbool. So in his own, the author judgment, he sees the hadith as being maqbool, maybe hasan, and where it maybe have other turuq, other shawahid. So you might find that there's other narrations, there's others, other asanid, that in his eyes, he hold the hadith with these other reasons, factors, the hadith it is maqbool. So even though the hadith may seem da'if, but there's other narrations, other shawahid that may elevate a hadith to acceptability. But he still mentioned the hadith as it is. But so that's concerned the author himself, that he may see the hadith in his judgment to be a hadith which is, even though some he hold the hadith to be authentic, even though others may share a different view. And also you might find that another reason that the hadith may be mentioned as hadith which is the isnad seem to be, the hadith is mentioned, but the hadith is said to be da'if by way of, it is of those hadith which is marasil. The hadith is mursal. So you might find some of the ulama that the hadith which is mursal, that there's a level of inqita, there's a level of inconsistency regarding, there's a breakage in the isnad, but at the end of the hadith, so hadith al-mursal, that a breakage occur, but that author, he may see that a hadith al-mursal, it is said to be da'if, but it's something which is, that some of the ulama yahtaj bihi. Some of the ulama still may use it as a source of evidence. Some of the ulama may still use as a source of evidence because they see that that weakness is not very strong. It's a slight weakness. It's a minor weakness. So they might see it as something which is, it is still weak, but still can be used as a source of evidence, according to some of the view of some of the ulama. So regarding a hadith al-mursal, as an example, some of the ulama may hold it to be weak, but also weakness where they still use as a ihtijaj. So regarding concerning that it is still seen as a source of proof with some of, or can be used as a source of evidence with some of the ulama. So that's one of another factor. Another factor regarding concerning that that particular hadith, as we mentioned, that of those hadiths that some of the ulama may take a position that in a matter where the only hadith that have come to us is a hadith which is da'if, and the meaning seems to be correct, but the isnad is da'if, but they prefer to use a weak hadith over that of the ijtihad and qiyas. So some of the ulama prefer to use a hadith al-da'if over that of their own personal judgment and that of qiyas. So that's of the reason sometimes a hadith al-da'if may be used in or mentioned in the books of Hadith al-Ahkam, where the author or the madhab of that author or some of the ulama, that they prefer to use a weak hadith that is not severely weak than that of their own personal judgment or that of the judgment of others men. So that's concerning of the reason at times a hadith da'if may be mentioned. So the person preferred to be concerned about al-ihtiyat, prefer to use a weak hadith, a slightly weak hadith, than that of their own personal judgment based upon ihtiyat. So you find that Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah is said to be of those ulama at times he preferred to use a weak hadith than that of his own personal judgment. Also of the ulama that hadith da'if may be known, but it is still mentioned in the books of the books of Hadith al-Ahkam, based upon the idea that some of the ulama that they prefer regarding that if the hadith is weak, but the hadith is weak, but there's the ulama, they still, majority of the ulama, they still act in line with the hadith. They still fall in line with what can be with the meaning of the hadith. So they work with the meaning of the hadith, and so at times they may use a hadith da'if may be mentioned based upon even the hadith is da'if, but the amal al-ulama, the action of the ulama, the rule of the ulama are in line with that hadith. And some of those cases would be highlighted. So as I mentioned, as I mentioned, أن يكون a hadith da'if, the hadith is weak, but you'll find that the ulama, they still act upon that hadith. The ulama, they still act upon what is mentioned in this hadith, even though the isnad is da'if. So sometimes you might find cases like that where or find that there's an ijma regarding that point. So the hadith which is weak, but the ijma is the main source, but the hadith which is weak, it is still somewhat mentioned along with that ijma. Also, they mentioned that at times they might find that in that bab you find hadith is da'if, and there's nothing that is except for hadith which is da'if, and there's nothing that can be the mean, and the hadith doesn't contradict any of the usul of Islam. That some of the ulama might some of the ulama might still mention the hadith and may use that hadith. So you might find another case where the hadith is weak, but it doesn't per se contradict anything regarding of the usul of Islam. So some of the ulama might go along with that hadith. They might go along with the ruling of that hadith, as it doesn't contradict anything regarding Islam and more in line with the principles of Islam. Then they may accept that hadith or use that hadith. So that's concerning of those things regarding a hadith. Ad-da'if, at times the ulama will mention a hadith ad-da'if in the books of Ahkam, a hadith al-Ahkam, by way of to clarify that hadith is weak and is not to be acted upon. So at times it is mentioned so as to clarify that it is weak and not to be acted upon. So of the ulama, at times what they will do in some of their books, they mention a hadith which is authentic, then mention a hadith as da'if, so the person know what to act upon and to use and what to stay away from regarding a hadith da'if. So at times a hadith da'if is mentioned so as a form of to caution the Muslim against these hadiths and not to use and to act upon them, and also to correct those who may use these hadith to establish some form of ruling that their source is not valid. Their source is not valid. And also a hadith da'if may be mentioned where he mentioned one hadith, but there's other related hadith that give quwwah, that give strength to that hadith. So sometimes and a hadith ya'tamil as-sahha, that it has a possibility that it may be authentic because of the other narration. So they will mention a hadith da'if because there's a possibility that it could be strengthened by other similar hadiths. So those are concerning of some of the reasons why hadith da'if is mentioned, and other reasons are sometimes mentioned. So that's concerning, just to clarify on the point regarding what we mentioned previously regarding that the general rule is that one is to rely only upon hadith which is authentic regarding ahkam, regarding halal and haram, and to avoid hadith which is da'if. But at times, as we mentioned, we might find in the books of the ulama a hadith that are da'if, that are mentioned. And what are the factors and the reason behind this? What is the maqsood? So the next point is regarding what's the purpose, maqsood, min kutub al-hadith al-ahkam. What's the purpose and the intent and the aim and the objective of compiling books regarding a hadith al-ahkam? What's the objective behind this? The objective of the ulama, one is to make it taqarrub sunnah, is to make it easier access to sunnah, to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So giving the people easier access to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, where they mention certain hadiths that can somewhat will give you a person a general idea regarding the ahkam of Islam. So the making gathering a hadith that will make it easier for the person to have access to the sunnah and not mention everything that is available regarding the sunnah. So that's concerning easier access regarding this matter. So a person can easily find the main points from those ahadith. So that's concerning, and also as we mentioned regarding also the person also to be familiar regarding concerning of the aim for the person also to be familiar regarding what have been mentioned by way of the Prophet ﷺ regarding certain matters. So to give the person clarity that the Prophet ﷺ may have spoken clearly, explicitly on a particular matter, and you will find this in the hadith. So for the person to have that source of reference regarding what have been said by the Prophet ﷺ regarding particular matters, and especially regarding halal and haram. So having that access to this by way of directly coming from the Sunnah. So you'll find that of the ulama who have gathered books. So the next point is regarding concern that define the ulama. Then also by this, trying to make it accessible, the Sunnah to the Prophet of Islam, to the general mass, and also to Tulab al-Ilm, that they have now also written books regarding this particular topic. So the next thing to be discussed is regarding books regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. So this part is concerning books, kutub, Hadith al-Ahkam. So books that have been written on this particular topic of Hadith al-Ahkam. So you find that one, the ulama have taken different tanawwa, al-manaj al-ulama, that regarding concern the ulama regarding different methodologies or ways in compiling books regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. So you find various methods that are available. Of those of the ulama, in general, there are books that are musnada, books that have isnad attached to it. Then you have concerning books that are without isnad, and you find that most of those are the ones that came, most of those books are Hadith Ahkam, they fall into that category of books without isnad. And also you find that books are mukhtasar, books that are somewhat brief, some mutawassit, some that are middle level books, and also mutawalat, and also books that are more detail on this topic. So you find various methods that are approached regarding kutub Hadith al-Ahkam. So we can somewhat highlight concerning that first regarding of some of the early books that some of the ulama have written regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. So of those early books that capture concerning Hadith al-Ahkam, and these books that were mentioned in particular are books that are musnada. So of the ulama of the early days who have concerned that have gathered books regarding Hadith al-Ahkam, where the emphasis is to clarify concerning halal and haram. Those books at time they refer to from the early books, they refer to the early books that are written with isnad. So the early books that those books are compiled, they are written also including their isnad. So of those books that they are early days, that those books amongst the vocabulary, the terminology of the ulama of hadith, that they refer to those books as sunan. So those books, the early books that are mainly centered around Hadith Ahkam, they refer to as kutubu sunan. So sunan by way of ahkam that can be taken from these books. Of those books, in the early days of those, and they mentioned the ulama, they have a discussion regarding of those early books, we have concerning al-Muwatta of Imam Malik rahimahullah. So the book of Imam Malik rahimahullah, al-Muwatta, an important book regarding Hadith Ahkam, where Imam Malik rahimahullah he gathered concerning Hadith al-Nabawiyah, also aqwal of the Salaf from the Sahaba and from the ulama of his time, and also some of his aqwal. So at the book of Muwatta, it have those different benefits. Hadith al-Nabawiyah, Athar al-Salafiyya, Athar al-Sahaba wa Tabi'in, and also aqwal of the ulama, and also his statements on some matters. So it comes with those various benefits. So Imam Malik rahimahullah, his book al-Muwatta, that does cover concerning Hadith al-Ahkam, does cover concerning Hadith al-Ahkam. So you find that Imam Malik rahimahullah, Imam ad-Dar al-Ijra rahimahullah, and who's Imam Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Shaybani. So you find that Imam Malik ibn Anas rahimahullah, that have written on that topic. You find many of the people who have narrated his book regarding concerning, many who have narrated concerning al-Muwatta of Imam Malik rahimahullah, and of those concerning Muhammad ibn Hassan al-Shaybani, who have been one of the narrators of al-Muwatta of Imam Malik, and many others, al-Laythi, al-Qanabi, many who have narrated al-Muwatta that we have today. So the next of those sources, the early sources regarding kutub Hadith al-Ahkam, al-Muwatta lil-Imam Malik rahimahullah tabarak ta'ala. Of those other books that are referred to as Sunan, where the emphasis of those books is Hadith al-Ahkam, that of those who have written on those books of the Sunnah, that of those books that are called as Sunan, first amongst those, Sunan Abi Dawud, so Kitab as-Sunan by Imam Abi Dawud, Sulaiman ibn Ash'ath al-Sijistani rahimahullah tabarak ta'ala, who died 273. So of those books, of the early books, as-Sunan by Imam Abi Dawud al-Sijistani. Second of those books, that is also referred to as al-Jami', or at times referred to as Sunan, that referred to as at-Tirmidhi, so the book of Imam at-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, also of those books that gather Hadith al-Ahkam, and also other things. but a bulk of that book is related to Hadith al-Ahkam. So those books, At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, so the book of Imam At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, of those books. So Muhammad ibn Isa At-Tirmidhi rahimahullah, regarding his book, also emphasize regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. Third amongst those books, Al-Mujtaba or As-Sunan An-Nasa'i. So Imam An-Nasa'i rahimahullah, in his book that is referred to as Mujtaba or As-Sughra, also emphasized regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. So An-Nasa'i rahimahullah was Ahmad ibn Shu'aib An-Nasa'i rahimahullah. Fourth of those books is the book of As-Sunan li Ibn Majah. So the fourth of those books is the Sunan of Ibn Majah rahimahullah. So Ibn Majah rahimahullah was Muhammad ibn Yazid Qazwini rahimahullah, that wrote the book As-Sunan. So also that book that collect concerning, that is main emphasis regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. So those four that we mentioned, Sunan Abi Dawud, Jami' al-Tirmidhi, Al-Mujtaba lil-Nasa'i, wa As-Sunan lil-Ibn Majah, they refer to as As-Sunan al-Arba. They refer to as As-Sunan al-Arba or Kutub al-Arba. So those are the four books of those books that they emphasize regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. In addition to those other books are important sources regarding books of the ulama of old, of the early scholars who wrote and gathered books regarding Ahkam, other concerning As-Sunan al-Daraqutni. So Imam al-Daraqutni rahimahullah, that his book As-Sunan, as was Ali ibn Umar al-Daraqutni rahimahullah. Also As-Sunan al-Kabir or Sunan al-Kubra lil-Bayhaqi, also a very important reference regarding Hadith al-Ahkam, was Ahmad ibn Hussein. That's one of the large reference regarding Kutub al-Ahkam. Sunan al-Kabir lil-Bayhaqi rahimahullah. And others, Ad-Darimi in his As-Sunan or Al-Jami' Ad-Darimi, also is Abdullah ibn Abdul Rahman Ad-Darimi, also of a collection. So that book also is also an important source of reference that are of concerning aqwal of the Sahaba regarding matters regarding Ahkam. So those are important, are some of the primary reference sources regarding Kutub al-Ahkam. So those are the books that are mentioned regarding concerning Kutub al-Ahkam from the ulama of the early times who wrote on those particular matter. So after them and those books, they are distinguished by those books that they are written all with their isnad. Those books, they are written with their isnad. Then you find that ulama who came after, who tried to remove concerning mention of isnad, but still keep the same theme of Kutub Hadith al-Ahkam. We discuss concerning mainly matter pertaining to Kutub al-Ahkam that will, in most part, they will not include concerning matter that relates to Hadith al-Aqaid, matter relates to belief, matter concerning tafsir, those matters regarding Fadal al-Sahaba or Anbiya, those things will not be included in the books of Kutub al-Hadith al-Ahkam. So those matter regarding Aqidah, matter pertaining to tafsir, matter regarding manaqib, the virtues of individuals, those things will not be included in the books of Hadith al-Ahkam. So it's mainly centered around halal and haram. So of those who came later, and I've written on that topic, you find many have written on those topic, and we mentioned that many have written on that particular topic of those books that goes into many of those early ones who have written regarding that particular topic. And we mentioned the more renowned of those books on that topic. We mentioned the more renowned of those books on this particular topic, as there are many books. So Kutub Hadith al-Ahkam, they're usually attached with two areas that you find concerning. One, books that are specific regarding gathering Hadith al-Ahkam, and they refer to as Kutub Hadith al-Ahkam. But also by way of a offshoot from this, we have a second set of books that are called Kutub al-Takhrij. So you find a second set of books that are called Kutub al-Takhrij. So Kutub al-Takhrij, that the purpose of those books, that the author will go to a particular book that mention a hadith, and then they will grade and study those hadiths. So you find concerning that for each madhab, for example, for each madhab al-fiqhiyya that we'll find for them books that relate to takhrij, where the author will go to one of the famous books in fiqh that will mention a hadith and nabawiyya, and they'll take out those hadiths, and then they'll discuss with those hadiths that are mentioned to pass judgment whether those hadith are authentic or not, and clarify the hukum upon those hadith. So for each madhab that you'll find a book or books on that particular topic. So that's to be noted regarding this particular subject. So in specific, of those more famous and renowned books regarding Kutub al-Hadith al-Ahkam, that of those more noted book, that you find that one of the ulama whose name is Abdul Haq ibn Abdul Rahman al-Ishbili. So you find that one of the ulama, Abdul Haq ibn Abdul Rahman al-Ishbili, who died 581 al-Hijri, that he wrote 3 books on this topic. The first, Ahkam al-Kubra, and Ahkam al-Kubra, that's the larger, regarding Ahkam relating to Hadith Ahkam, that's the larger work that he made, that come in several volumes, in many volumes. That particular book, that also he did include Isnad. In that book he did include Isnad, which is for that time period from the 5th, and that he was in the late 5th century, that most of those books regarding Hadith Ahkam, they wouldn't include the Isnad, but his work that he did include Isnad regarding Ahkam al-Kubra. Then the other ones, then he had other works, which is Ahkam al-Wusta, wal-Ahkam, wal-Ahkam al-Sugra. So those 2 other works, as Wusta was Sugra, they're without Isnad. They're without Isnad. And in both of those 2, we can somewhat try to emphasize more hadith that are authentic. He more tried to emphasize hadith that are authentic. So those books that are in print, the books of Abdul Haq ibn Abdul Rahman al-Ishbili, that those books are in print. Also next, regarding those work, or before those ones, of those who proceeded, before Ishbili, that is another work that is called al-Muntaqa fi Sunan. Al-Muntaqa fi Sunan. And that's like a one that is now in print, by, as mentioned by Abi Muhammad Abdullah ibn Ali Jarud al-Naysaburi. Again, Abi Muhammad Abdullah ibn Ali al-Jarud al-Naysaburi, who died 307, who died the year 307, still from the early times. So he wrote a book regarding Hadith Ahkam, and that book also is in print. That book is also in print, and you have 7 different people who have worked on that book. So several of the contemporaries who have some work over that book. Where that book concerned, that of the book, it in 1 volume, in some print, but concerning Hadith Ahkam. So of the early works that specifically discuss concerning Hadith Ahkam, that work, they will mention concerning the second book will be Ahkam al-Kubra, then the third Ahkam al-Wusta, and the fourth Ahkam al-Sugra by al-Ishbili. Then after, then 5th of those work, and this one is more popular, Umdat Ahkam al-Sugra, Umdat Ahkam al-Sugra. So you find concerning, and the author, Abdul Ghani ibn Abdul Wahid ibn Ali ibn Jamaili al-Maqdisi al-Hanbali, that he has 2 books. Umdat al-Ahkam al-Sugra, and that's the one that is well known, and which consists of about 500, just over 500, or under just around 500 hadiths that are taken specifically from Bukhari and Muslim. Then he has another book that is called Ahkam, or called Umdatul Ahkam al-Kubra. Umdat Ahkam al-Kubra. Both those are in print. But the one that is more famous, Ahkam al-Sugra, that the one which is called Umdat Ahkam, that is the one that is more popular, and you find that many of explained Ahkam, Umdat Ahkam al-Sugra by Abdul Ghani al-Maqdisi al-Hanbali, who died 600 al-Hijri. And you have others who have written, amongst those, the 7th of those books is one that is called Al-Muntaqa fi Ahkam and Khair al-Anam. Al-Muntaqa fi Ahkam and Khair al-Anam, and that is written by Majd ad-Din Abi Barakat Abdus Salam ibn Taymiyyah. Majd ad-Din Abi Barakat Abdus Salam ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah, who was the Jed of Ibn Taymiyyah. So he's the grandfather of Shaykh al-Islam Ibn Taymiyyah rahimahullah. So Majd ad-Din Abi Barakat, that he died 652 al-Hijri, that he wrote a book that is called al-Muntaqa fi Ahkam and Khair al-Hanam, or Muntaqa. That book also is in print. That book is also in print. And of the explanation, it is famous. You have many who have explained, but the one that have reached us today is of the ulama have explained that book. Of the more renowned explanation is that of Shawkani, that is called Nail al-Awtar. Next, regarding concerning of those who have done book, Al-Ilmam bi Hadith al-Ahkam, and this book also is in print by Ibn Daqiq al-Eid. Also another of the more famous book is Al-Muharrar fi Hadith, Al-Muharrar fi Hadith, and this is written by one of the ulama of the Hanabila, Shamsuddin Abi Abdullah Muhammad ibn Ahmad ibn Abdul Hadi al-Maqdisi. So Muhammad ibn Ahmad ibn Abdul Hadi al-Maqdisi, who died 744 al-Hijri, that also have a book that is called Al-Muharrar, and that also an important book regarding Hadith al-Ahkam, a very important book regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. And in some university that in the faculty of Hadith studies, then that book will be memorized. The book that come after is the book I will be discussing with the book Bulugh Al-Maram min Adillat al-Ahkam. So of those books that is famous regarding Hadith al-Ahkam, Bulugh Al-Maram min Adillat al-Ahkam, and this is the book that is written by Hafid ibn Ḥajar al-ʿAsqalānī rahimahullah, who died 852. So this is the book. It has many print that is available. So this is the book that is Bulugh Al-Maram min Adillat al-Ahkam by Hafid ibn Ḥajar al-ʿAsqalānī rahimahullah, and that will be the book that we'll be studying. That will be book that we intend, inshallah ta'ala, to study, but this is a part of the introduction. So in this print, and it is titled Bulugh Al-Maram fi Ahadith Khair al-Anam. Bulugh Al-Maram fi Ahadith Khair al-Hanam lil Hafid ibn Ḥajar al-ʿAsqalānī rahimahullah. And this particular print is of the print that it is still makhtut. So it's not off. So this is the print of the old writing style. This is Bulugh Al-Maram, but the title is somewhat different. So that's concerning, as we mentioned, this is the book that Bulugh Al-Maram, that by Ibn Ḥajar al-ʿAsqalānī rahimahullah, that it consists of over 1,000 of over 1,580 something hadith. So 1,580 something hadith that is consists in this that consists in this particular book regarding Hadith al-Ahkam, and mainly hadith are discussed. And as we said, I will discuss that book, and inshallah ta'ala that will have a part of the introduction, just a discussion on the book regarding the book Bulugh Al-Maram, and also the author Ibn Ḥajar rahimahullah tabaraka ta'ala. So just to note regarding that, of those works is Bulugh Al-Maram in contemporary times that become a book that have been memorized, also been taught a lot. So this book also is well renowned and also widely studied and have been explained, as we will discuss those things further in detail inshallah tabaraka ta'ala. So those are some of those books that have been written. You have other books that are there regarding Kutub Hadith Ahkam, especially concerning the past couple of years. Many of those books have been published and in print. So those are just some of those ones, some of the books regarding that particular subject regarding Hadith Ahkam. So with that, inshallah ta'ala, that even though the Shaykh he mentioned that so those are said not many works on that topic, then also of those works, that is also, we note this work concerned that you find that Shaykh Muhammad Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, so Shaykh Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah also have a book, a writing regarding Kutub Hadith Ahkam. So also Muhammad ibn Abdul Wahhab rahimahullah, that he wrote a book that is titled Majmu' al-Hadith al-Abwab al-Fiqh. Majmu' al-Hadith al-Abwab al-Fiqh. So this is also those this book is mainly regarding Hadith Ahkam. So this book is mainly regarding Hadith Ahkam, and it's in print of the works regarding concerning Hadith al-Ahkam. So that's concerning, and Shaykh Muhammad Abu Wahhab rahimahullah, that he died 1,000 He died, 1206. 1206 al-Hijri. So those are some of the works regarding Kutub al-Hadith al-Ahkam. There's other works that we can mention, but we'll restrict it to those ones regarding concerning to show the juhud of the ulama regarding of the past, and also of those who came after regarding books that regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. So with that, inshallah ta'ala, that will end this particular session regarding this introduction regarding the discussion regarding Hadith al-Ahkam. The next thing to be discussed is relating to the book itself, which is Bulugh Al-Maram, and also the author Hafid ibn Ḥajar al-ʿAsqalānī rahimahullah, regarding concerning things of his, something relating to his biography. So that will be the next thing that we'll cover next, and then we'll go into regarding matter pertaining to the book itself, Bulugh Al-Maram. وبالله تعالى توفيق وهذه السبيل والآخرة والحمد لله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.